Welcome back to another episode of Friends, Loves, and Life from a Queer Point of View. I'm David Begor. Today's conversation is about aging in the gay community, what it feels like to grow older in a world that celebrates youth, how invisibility creeps in, and how connection and confidence can actually deepen with time. My guest, Sean McCormick, talks about love, loss, perseverance, and the unexpected freedom that comes with age. And he shares it all with humor and honesty that makes him such a joy to listen to. Here is my conversation with Sean. Sean McCormick, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Well, Sean, you're someone who's been around for quite a while, being 81 years old. I wanted to dive into who you were as a young person.
As a young person.
Before you came out, like who were you?
Okay, meaning my early teens, perhaps, even late teens. I was always very upbeat, I think. I felt I was the star of my family. Even though I was one of seven, I felt that...
Hey, one of seven, you got to make yourself stand out.
Exactly. Yes. When you're one of seven, you don't have room to be a wallflower, not by any stretch of the imagination. So I was always a very social person, always. I enjoyed parties and weddings and the local teen club. I was a good dancer. The girls loved to dance with me, and since I wasn't interested in going to bed with them, they loved they loved that. No pressure on either side.
What number were you in the seven?
I was number 5.
Oh, right.
Yeah, number
kind of
5.
in the middle.
Yeah. 3 older brothers, my one and only sister, who is still living, and then myself, and then I had 2 younger brothers, and the brother down from me, he's still living. So there's only 3 out of the 7 of us that are living.
Oh, wow.
And of course, my parents died quite some time ago.
Were you close with your siblings?
Not really, David. That's a good question, because the older I get, the more I think about how I was really involved with 2 groups of siblings. There were the 3 older brothers. There were 4, 5, 6 years. The oldest was probably 6 years older than I was. And then my sister. So that group of brothers, we didn't hang out together. We had nothing in common. I was still in grade school when they were in high school. And what high school guy hangs out with a kid brother in 5th or 6th grade? It doesn't happen. When I was in high school, they were on to college and what have you. They all got married. They had families. So we just lived in different worlds on many levels.
Were you aware of being gay as a teenager?
Yes, absolutely.
And is this in the 50s, 60s?
50s, late 50s. So I would say starting in the mid 50s, late 50s, I was well aware that, I was definitely attracted to men.
And did you know any other gay people or even know of gay people?
I didn't label them gay at the time. We had sex together, but I think we thought we were experimenting with it.
Yeah, sure. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I sometimes think back to those guys, and I wonder if they turned out to be gay or possibly bi. Unfortunately, I lost all contact once we graduated from 8th grade because everybody seemed to go to different schools. And that was it as far as knowing those guys. We just very seldom saw each other after that. very seldom.
That journey from knowing that you were gay or that you were attracted to men as a teenager to actually coming out. How old were you when you came out? And coming out, is that coming out to yourself or coming out to other people?
I'm glad you qualified that, because I think there is a distinction. I don't think I ever came out to other people formally. Okay? I think I came out to myself from more or less day one. Like I said, I knew I was interested in men, not only sexually, but I just had more fun hanging out with men. It wasn't that I disliked women. I didn't. In fact, not to brag, but there were a couple of women that really liked me. But like I said, or backing up, I don't think I ever formally came out. With my parents, I don't think so much with my dad, because I think I was able to more or less disguise it with him. But I think with my mom, the older she got, I think the more she realized that I was gay. But she wasn't about to bring it up to me, because I think deep down she really did love me regardless of my sexuality or the absence of it. She would have loved me if I would have told her that I was asexual, that I just wasn't interested in it, period.
Yeah. That's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's actually quite beautiful.
Well, yeah, I admire her so much. In fact, the older I get, the more I admire her. I don't make a saint out of her, but she had a tough life. But it was a life that she chose. She was a stay-at-home mother. Needless to say, was 7 children. I still shake my head over the fact that I think she had my oldest 3 brothers in diapers at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, think about that. Think about it. With no help, with no outside help, of course.
Right.
No daycare. She had a neighbor that helped out when she could, but Mrs. Heater next door, she was a working single mother, and she had very little time. She worked for the telephone company, I remember. But my mother always knew that if she needed anything from Mrs. Heater, she'd be the first one to come over, including just a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah. Which I'm sure was pretty common.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure there were many nights when she fell into bed just completely exhausted.
Yeah.
Completely. After doing all the things that were expected of a quote housewife back then. My dad was a truck driver, very hard job for a local brewery. So he was up early in the morning, walking over to the local brewery, stocking up his truck, et cetera, going on his route. When he came home, he was dog tired. Trying to make a decent living, and he did. There was only the one income in the family, no other source of income. So it was, the brunt of the work at home was certainly on my mom.
So your parents and your siblings sort of shape, well, not sort of, they shape the world that you view. Knowing that you were attracted to men, how did that make you feel about yourself at the time?
At the time, I think I was just as egotistical as I am now.
Oh my God.
And I say that in seriousness. I do have a large ego, and
in what way? Why do you say that?
I think well of myself. I think I'm a very, very good person. And even better than good, I think I'm a very kind person. I don't remember being malicious, purposely malicious to anyone in my life. I tried to be kind, and I tried, once again referring back to my mom, if my mother didn't like somebody, she never really she didn't talk against them. She simply never brought their name up in conversation. Never. She never associated with those people.
That's interesting. I mean, I get that. I mean, that's a great attitude, I think.
Well, thank you.
And so, I mean, you're saying this about I don't think that's egotistical. I think it shows a strong sense of self, and that you learned that from your mother and your father and your siblings. That must have come from the surrounding that you were in.
It did, yeah. My dad certainly thought well of himself, and he should have. He should have. In hindsight, starting when he was very young. First of all, he was a very, very handsome man, without a doubt. He was drop dead handsome. And my mother was drop dead gorgeous. They made a beautiful couple early on, as they matured. But especially early on, my father, like I said, was very handsome. Physically, he was very tough. He was in the Navy, and he was a shore patrolman, which means that him and a bunch of other shore patrolmen went into bars to break up fights, and so on. That they were there to keep the peace, whatever bases they were assigned to. So he was physically in good shape most of his life because of that, and with his job. You can't be weak and be throwing around cases of beer.
Right, yeah.
That takes a certain amount of stamina, a certain amount of good health. He had arms on him that looked like two ham hocks. We often laughed as kids. It was incredible. And of course, a big barrel chest. But no, he thought well of himself, and my older three brothers did as well. They were all peacocks, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I sometimes wonder how the women that they ended up marrying ever put up with their ego, because they were not shy men by any stretch of the imagination, including about their good looks.
That's awesome. I love the way you describe your family. I think it's pretty cool. So when at some point you decided to move out of the house, go to college? You went to college?
I went to college, unfortunately, for a very, very brief time. And it was strictly due to my fault. I had the opportunity in many ways, including financial. That was not a problem, but I just didn't do the work.
I understand that. I had the same problem. I never finished college.
Yeah.
Kind of for that same reason, I just didn't do the work.
Didn't do the work, and that's what has to be done.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, plain and simple.
And how old were you at that time?
Mid-20s. Yeah, I was drafted into the Army soon after I turned 21. And I was drafted for 2 years. Back then, that's what the draft was, 2 years service. And so I got out, and I had just turned 23, and went to college for one semester on what was then called the GI Bill. The government picked up the tab, but then when they looked at my grades, they weren't willing to do it for some reason anymore. I got a very polite letter, but it was to the point.
Drafted is that the Korean War?
No, that was during the Vietnam era. That was during
Okay.
the Vietnam era, yeah. 62 through 65, I guess it was. Yeah, so, somewhere in the mid-60s. Yeah, it was. But fortunately, I was not sent to Vietnam.
You were stationed in the United States?
No, actually, I was stationed in San Juan, Puerto Rico for 4 months, and then they sent a bunch of us to the Panama Canal Zone. and I was stationed there for 13 months.
How did you navigate being gay through that?
That was tough, David. That was very, very tough, because that was so long, even before the don't ask, don't tell policy that was established. I just knew that I had to be super careful.
Right.
Because about the only thing my father ever told me before going into the Army, he said, do not come out with a less than honorable discharge. He said, do not. Whatever it costs you, the money will be there for you. He said, but don't, because he said, if you come out with a dishonorable discharge, that's going to follow you the rest of your life. On any job applications you fill out, there's always a space. Did you serve? And if so, what was your status when they discharged you?
That's amazing advice, because it's true.
It positively is true.
Yeah.
Positively is true. Not unlike an arrest
Yeah.
record.
Yeah.
That follows people the rest of their lives.
Yeah, one of the things I had in that last episode I had learned about blue discharges, where they discharged gay men and stripping them of all benefits because they were gay.
That's just not right. That's just not right. And are you indicating, David, that is going on today? As far as you know?
I don't know if that's going on now. I think we might be headed there.
Oh, I do too. I had never heard of that, to be honest, a blue discharge.
Yeah.
But see, once again, that would be considered a less than honorable discharge. That word honorable is not there. Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, you got out of the Army. What happened next?
As I mentioned, I went to school for one semester at a state university in Illinois. And then when I washed out of there, then I ended up getting what turned out to be the job that I had for the rest of my life. I worked for the appellate court of Illinois in the clerk's office, and I actually worked for two different districts. The first district, which is based in Chicago, I worked for them, and then there was an opportunity in the third district appellate court, which was in the town of Ottawa, Illinois, and that was is about 80 miles southwest of Chicago, but it's a different district within the state. So I went down there for about 7 years and worked in their clerk's office. But then I had the great fortune of having the opportunity to go back to work at the first district. And I did, and that's where I finished up my 30 years with the state of Illinois.
As a clerk?
As a deputy clerk.
Oh, okay.
As a deputy clerk, yeah.
Did you ever think about, maybe I'll go and study to be a lawyer?
I never, I can't say I did, David. I found the mechanics, if you will, of law to be interesting. That there are certain steps, certain time limits, and they all have to be followed. I was always amazed that everybody has the right to an appeal, and we had a lot of people that represented themselves. They're called pro se people, and it's very, very difficult. Some of them were very successful, and I admired those people that they had such perseverance.
Now you're in your 20s, you're working at a clerk's office. What was gay life like in Chicago at that time?
It was fun. It was fun. I had my favorite bars. One in particular, it seems like last night I was over there singing at the piano bar. It was called Kitty Sheehan's. And
Wait. You were singing?
Yes. after a couple of gin and tonics, I think I'm Dean Martin. And we would, it was just the atmosphere in that bar. I've never been able to duplicate. We were all there just for a good time. It wasn't a cruisy bar. It wasn't how would you say? It wasn't a leather bar. It wasn't a drag bar. It wasn't, a bar with a title. Is that what I'm looking for?
Just a piano bar.
Just a piano bar. Yeah, beautifully decorated. Beautifully decorated. The straight couple that ran a very, very good operation. They always had somebody on the door, because back then, gay bars were being harassed, of course. And they always had somebody on the door to kind of look you over before you came in. You had to be a little bit on the dressed up side to get in there.
That's kind of nice.
It was kind of nice, David. It was kind of nice. I miss that. Just that fact alone. You couldn't get in there with gym shorts and a tank top. Not that there's anything wrong with that look. We're in the desert. That's how we dress.
Yeah.
But it was just like I said. Everybody was in there. We all knew each other, of course, from going in there so often. Mixed ages. There was certainly never a physical fight.
Were you ever there during a raid?
Fortunately, I wasn't. And the reason I wasn't, the owners were a straight couple. And the husband was a Chicago policeman.
Okay.
So therefore, he was very connected. And I'm sure that him and his wife, who ran this bar, very financially, very successful bar, I'm sure. And I'm sure that they were paying off. Because
I'm sure they had to, probably. Yeah.
Exactly. That was the, what's the term, modus operandi back then?
Yeah.
In the Chicago Police Department? That was well known. Was it right? No. But that's how the situation was.
Yeah. This was in the 1960s?
It was in the 60s. Yeah, 60s. Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll run into somebody out here in the desert that is as old as I am and remembers Kitty Sheehan's, and they immediately smile and they immediately agree. It was a fun place where we all felt safe and we just had a good time.
It's nice that you had that.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people don't, and so it's nice that you appreciate that was there for you.
Absolutely. And then there was another place directly across the street, different flavor, but yet a nice bar. It was called Gentry. It was in one of these beautiful old 3-story townhouses that they converted into a bar. And the front bar was simply that. It was a great big horseshoe-shaped bar. Once again, a fun place. And then they also had a piano bar, not quite as large as Kitty Sheehan's, and it didn't seem to have the same vibe that Kitty Sheehan's had. But it was, once again, a very safe place and a fun place as well. So I had my share of evenings at those two places.
At what point in your history did you meet Kent?
Kent and I met at a gay bar in Chicago, which was just a horrible place. But it was a convenient hangout for him. Kent was much younger than I was, and he was working at a nearby upscale hotel. I forget if he was a server at that time in their restaurant or if he was working at their front desk, because he did both. But regardless, it was a neighborhood hangout for him because he lived nearby. So he was able to walk over to this bar after work, and then he was able to continue walking over to his condo that he had nearby. And I guess I could do the math. I forget what year we met. I do remember it was the Friday after Thanksgiving. I do remember that we met. And met in this bar, talked immediately, and it wasn't very, very long after that that he moved in with me into my house.
Ah, the gays.
That's what we do best. That's what we do best. Everybody thinks it's the lesbians that do that, but no, gay guys do too. Yeah, it's the gays. Yeah. He gave up the lease of his apartment, very quickly. And,
that's funny.
In fact, I don't think he even moved any furniture. It was a dark, dingy, small condo that he was renting. I guess it came furnished or something. Great location.
Yeah.
But yeah, he moved in with me, and I still remember the afternoon that he moved in with me. He called his parents from my house, and he said, I want you sitting alongside of me when I make this call. And he told them, he said, I told you about Sean a couple of times. He said, I'm now living at Sean's house in the Bridgeport neighborhood of Chicago. And that's how he informed them that he was living with me.
This in the 1970s?
It would have been, yes.
So you guys moved in this before the AIDS crisis?
Yeah, oh yeah, before. Yeah.
Can I ask you what that was like to navigate? Were you monogamous?
Yes, we were. Another thing that I often think about, David, because unlike other people, Kent and I really didn't know anybody that had a full-blown case of AIDS. And we didn't know anybody that died from AIDS, which seems impossible.
Yeah.
Seems impossible. Because we had if for no other reason, we had a couple of good friends that did volunteer work at places for people with AIDS that were being turned away by their family and friends and had no other place to go. So back then they established these, what I would now call hospice places, hospice homes for them to die in. But I guess it didn't hit home with us, to use that phrase, because we didn't know anybody personally. It was certainly going on all around us in Chicago, yeah.
Sure.
But so I can't say that I have a feeling, or I can't speak to how it personally impacted me, impacted us, I should say.
Well, maybe you can't speak to how it impacted you personally as far as like how it may have hit friends, but it hit you as far as it was a part of your world.
Absolutely. Sure it was.
Yeah.
Sure it was. Yeah, how could it not be? You picked up a newspaper, you listened to the local news on TV.
And this was labeled a gay disease at the time.
Yes, it was. Absolutely.
And that's all you heard.
That's all, right, that's all we heard. And there seemed to be so few people that were going to bat for us gay people. And by that I include the unfortunate people that had AIDS. But I admired them, and I still admire those people that did, the likes of Doris Day and Elizabeth Taylor, or even some of the local politicians. Even back then, they were gutsy enough to step out. To step out, exactly. That's a good phrase, to step out, knowing that it could affect their careers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I came out in 1982, a little bit after AIDS sort of hit, or actually after it really hit. And like you, in the beginning, I didn't really know that many people who had AIDS. That came later for me in the 90s when I was living in San Francisco, and people were still going through they'd get the diagnosis, and that's an end-of-life diagnosis.
Absolutely was. Sure was. They didn't have the drugs.
Yeah. Did you feel like this is something that we will get through? Or did you feel as if, because during this late 60s, early 70s, the sexual revolution, people were being more open, and then AIDS hit. And then it's like doors start closing.
I think we both felt that there was research going on, albeit quietly and without fanfare, but we knew that there was research going on. There were some people that were interested enough and concerned enough that they were, once again, putting in the work to try to overcome this horrible disease.
Glimmers of hope.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so this kind of works with your personality. You always have this, at least since I've known you, you've always had this sort of positive outlook about things. So I think maybe that's what was going on with you and Kent. You just decided to take the positive road. Not to have a pun in that.
No, the pun taken. I think what helped a lot is the fact that Ken and I had a very nice life together. Very nice life together. We really never wanted for anything. We both had good jobs. So therefore, the financial problems didn't exist. And I realize, especially in hindsight, that that's a big part of any relationship, sure. Gay, straight, or otherwise. But we always did. We lived well. We always had a nice roof over our heads. Kent enjoyed traveling like I did. The last trip that we took together was a cruise to Mexico, and it left from San Diego. And it did the usual 3 ports. And it was, I remember it was on Holland America, and we decided to treat ourselves to the concierge level on that trip. And we had a cabin that the two of us just looked at each other and shook our heads when we walked into it. It had a walk-in closet.
Wow.
Pardon the pun. That probably 3 people would have lived in had it been in New York City. It was that large. It was across the hall from a private little, not club, but there was somebody on duty there all the time if you wanted them to make reservations for whatever, shore excursion.
Oh, like a concierge.
That's it, a concierge. Yeah, concierge. And I remember we were across the hall from that, and we agreed for years afterwards, and of course, especially when he got sick, that we were so glad that we decided to do it that way. And we enjoyed the 3 ports that we went to. I think that was the first and only time either one of us had ever been to Puerto Vallarta. And Puerto Vallarta at that time was just beginning to more or less take over from Acapulco, especially for the gay crowd. And yeah, it was a good trip. It was a very, very good trip. And then when we got back, we had some time to kill, so we agreed there was no sense in rushing back to the desert. So we cruised around La Jolla, California, for several hours. And as I recall, we had brunch down there someplace. And we both agreed that La Jolla is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely beautiful.
Was Kent your first relationship?
Yes.
And when you were younger, as a gay man thinking about a relationship with another man, did it fulfill that idea of what you thought love would be between 2 men?
That's a really interesting question. Nobody has ever asked me that, ever, David. I never actually thought about a relationship.
Oh.
Until I met Kent, believe it or not.
You just didn't think it was possible, or?
No, I just didn't think about it, period. I'm not sure why, but it just, quote, happened with Kent. And once again, I guess to feed my ego, I still think that I was the love of Kent's life.
Yeah.
You know, and that, as they say, warms my heart in a way I can't possibly
In knowing that,
describe.
What did he teach you about love?
He taught me that I'm very lovable, starting with that. He missed when I wasn't home. I know darn well he did. And one time, in fact, the only time he ever got pissed off at me or angry with me, for some apparent reason, I slept in on a Saturday morning, which I never did, and he never did. And I think I got up at about 9 or 9:30, really, really late for me. And he ended up telling me immediately, why did I do that? What was wrong with me? He said, I almost went in there with a mirror to see if you were still breathing. And he meant it.
He was so used to your routine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he never said it out loud, but I think deep down, he was afraid that I died in my sleep.
Wow. You know, it's funny because Derek and I, we used to both work at home for years. I loved it. I think he loved it too.
You think? What do you mean by you think?
I mean, he kept working at home.
Okay.
But once he started working out of the house, I don't like it. I loved that he was there all the time.
See?
I could spend 24/7 with him. I love that. And before, I'd never had that before, where I would want to spend all my time with one person.
Wow.
If he just wants to go to the grocery store, I'll tag along and just go to the grocery store with him.
What a compliment, David. What a compliment.
Yeah,
that is so sweet.
I love it. Yeah.
That is so
I understand
sweet.
that, like, missing.
Yeah, he
why aren't you up at 9? Why aren't you up earlier?
he was very upset. He immediately let it go, so to speak. He didn't, go on and on and on about it. But I could tell that he was frightened. I think he was frightened
that something was wrong.
That something was wrong with me, especially if it meant me dying in my sleep. That he was going to be by himself. Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask you? And we can cut this if you're uncomfortable with it. But when you lost him, what helped you through that grief?
The first thing that pops into my head is the fact that he was able to die with dignity here in our house. And he said to me after his surgery, he had cancer of the throat, they removed his voice box, and he said to me, he wrote it out on a tablet on the way home from the hospital that day. He was over in Loma Linda. He wrote that if it came down to it, he wanted to die at home. So I truly believe he had a premonition. He knew how serious the cancer was, how quickly it appeared, how quickly it spread, so on and so forth. He had faith in his doctors, without a doubt, that they, quote, got it, but yet that's what he wrote out on the tablet. And when I glanced down and I read it, I sometimes wonder how I kept my composure to continue driving. But I did, and we came home. He was doing fine for a while. I went to speech therapy for a while. I was even understanding the words that he was able to form with his, as they call it, his new voice for a while. But then it came back, and that was it. And he spent about 7 weeks in hospice here in the house, which, like I said, he initially told me that's exactly where he wanted to be. And I reminded him several times because I could see that he was beginning to wonder if I was going to be able to carry through with my promise about keeping him home. I simply told him that I would keep him at home as long as I was physically, mentally, and financially able to, in that order. And he understood exactly those words. Like I said, we were able to, with the help of an excellent group of hospice people, we were able to keep him very, very comfortable. I don't think he was in any pain. Mm-hmm. I just don't. The drugs were available for me to give freely. The hospice people told me he had reached the point where I no longer had to measure the morphine. However much he wanted, I was to give to him, which I did. And so I think he died without pain, and he died with his dignity intact.
I think it's beautiful you made that promise to him.
Oh, thank you.
Was that before COVID?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 He died in March of 2019.
At what moment or at what point did you realize that you were ready to love and get back into dating?
I didn't think much about another relationship for quite a while. I think I was focusing on how good a life, to repeat myself, how good a life Kent and I had together for about 35 years. We were legally married a little over 2 years. We got married in January of 2017 out here in the desert over at the clerk's office in Palm Desert. And so we were legally married for a little over 2 years, but we were together somewhere in the neighborhood of 35. And so after he died, I think that's what I was focusing on most, is I wasn't feeling sorry for myself. I felt sad for Kent. On the other hand, I knew that Kent wasn't going to get better. So I accepted his serious illness, and I accepted his death. He was not going to get better, not going to get better. No, I didn't think about really the fact that, maybe that was it. Because I was older when he died. However, you do the math. 81 minus 6. Wherever that puts you, probably around 39 or so. No, I didn't think it was over for me, but I guess it was about a year. It was sometime in the middle or the late 2023 that I made up my mind that I was tired of being lonely. I was tired of not sharing what I have, whatever you want to consider that to be, with somebody else. And not just sharing it with somebody else, sharing it with somebody else that I truly loved. Not just an escort, or not just a boyfriend, or not just a one-night stand, but somebody that I wanted to be with, and that somebody, that guy, wanted to truly be with me. And
is that when you joined Prime Timers?
No, I had Ken and I had both been members of the chapter of Prime Timers in Chicago.
Okay.
And when he was healthy, we were both members here in Palm Springs, and we went to some of their events together. No, I continued going to their mixers and their lunches and their dinners every now and then. And that's where I met Arturo.
Your current?
My current. I like that. I haven't used that up until now. My current.
Yeah. So, and with Arturo, did you have that feeling, like when you met Kent, it sounds like you had the feeling like, oh, this is the guy.
And so you're asking me, David, if I had that same feeling with Arturo?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes, without a doubt.
That's sweet.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, without a doubt.
Do you sometimes think, what would Kent think of Arturo?
I don't. And a lot of people ask me that question. Friends of mine that I've had for years and years, I should say, that Kent and I had for years and years, and they're still alive. They ask me that question. And it's a fair question.
Well, now that I've said it, I'm not so sure it is a fair question. I mean, it was a different relationship than with Arturo.
Absolutely.
And would they have been friends? Maybe. Should Kent compare himself, or should Arturo compare himself to Kent?
No.
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 Absolutely not.
No. And I try not to compare them, if that makes sense to you, David. I as you said, Kent was Kent and Arturo is Arturo. Mm-hmm. Okay, two individual men, two different individual personalities. Mm-hmm. They came from two different cultures. Arturo was born and raised in Mexico, and so that's a different culture than the culture that us gringos have, as I call myself. But you know what I mean.
Yes.
You know what I mean. But getting back to when we first met, and it was at a Primetimers mixer, we exchanged glances, and I certainly felt that vibe from him immediately. Mm-hmm. And I still feel that he did as well with the return look that he gave me. And then it was several months that we didn't see each other. And coincidentally, it was at another Primetimer mixer that once again we saw each other. And so this time we did exchange contact information very briefly. But once again, then we went our separate ways, and I continued to think about him. I contacted a mutual friend and asked him if he thought Arturo would be interested in me contacting him. And so our mutual friend said, I'll find out for you, Sean. And he did, and Arturo did didn't mind that I contacted him. So, of course, I immediately, if not sooner, contacted him. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Does love feel any different from when you were that young guy meeting Kent to an 81-year-old meeting Arturo? Well, 80 at the time.
I think I'm trying harder this time. I really do. In fact, earlier this morning, because I believe it's been 16 months, and I told him this morning in a text that I'm still pursuing him. I'm still out to win him over.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Thank you.
Oh,
thank you.
That's very sweet.
Thanks.
Wow.
Well, he's a sweet man. He really is. He's a good man. He's a sweet man. And I used the word before describing myself, I guess, but I think that's the number one word I would use to describe Arturo. He's sincerely a very, very kind man.
Like yourself.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe that's one of the things that connects us. I don't know. He's much younger than I am. He's much more athletic than I am. He's much more handsome than I am. He's got hair.
We touched on prime timers just a little bit, but what I wanted to ask you about being 81, and we've spoken a little bit before about feeling invisible as we age. What does that feel like or look like to you being 81 in a community that prioritizes youth?
And we certainly do, David. That's a good word you used, prioritize. We have done that, meaning the gay community, us gay boys, us gay guys. We have done that and we continue to do that. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks. I see that on a one-on-one basis at the prime timer events. Not that there are that many younger men that come to our events, but there are some. But regardless, even with those of us that are older guys, the ones that are in physical better shape, they continue to be the more popular ones.
Interesting.
And
okay.
The ones that are unfortunate to have bad health, perhaps they're even on walkers, they're not so popular. They're not so popular. People don't go over there and say, hey, how you doing? Or hello, or,
It's okay to just be friends.
Exactly.
It's okay to just say hi.
Just say hi. Hey, how are you guys doing tonight? That's all. That's all. Actually, at our events, sometimes you don't have enough time or even space to say much more because they're very well attended events. Mm-hmm. It's a large chapter. I believe it's possibly the largest chapter. And as a result, at our mixers, it's not unusual to get 250 to 300 guys in the space, in the bars that we use. So
300. Did you say 300?
300. It's not unusual to have 300. Yeah. The guys love their mixers. They come out for them. One thing I was happy to see, not too long ago, one of the directors of the chapter decided that there should be, once a month, there should be a mixer just for single guys. As you can imagine, there's a certain percentage of the prime timers that are partnered up. Mm-hmm. But there are also a certain percentage that are still single. And not only still single, but they're still out there looking.
Yeah.
They may not be looking for another partner, another husband, but they're looking maybe for a date.
Yeah.
A simple coffee date. It doesn't have to be dinner at Spencer's. Although that would be nice if anybody is listening.
My number is.
You can find it around town. Where was I? And they're looking for that. And I actually belong to a chat group that was recently started in the Prime Timers. And it's an interesting group that meets twice a month. And the facilitator always has a topic and then like a couple of subtopics. And the main complaint, if you will, that I hear from some of the other guys is that they're being overlooked.
You mean as far as friendship and dating? Or
yes.
Just, okay.
Yes. Yeah. They go and they try, and they find it very difficult to break in. And I definitely will admit that it does happen at our events. I see it. We're a small group of guys, 6 guys, 8 guys, 4 guys, it doesn't matter. They will go to these events and they will stay among themselves. They go early enough to grab a table or a high boy bar table, whatever, and they sit among themselves, and that's it for the night. That's it.
It's like the cheerleader table in high school.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it. Exactly.
Or where the jocks all get together.
Right. That's a good way of putting it, because that did happen in my experience, probably yours. But so I understand exactly what they're saying, and I understand the fact that not everybody is as social as I am. I will admit, I'm a social animal. I have what I also call my darker side, and I also have what I call my frightened side, but I very often compare myself to a Broadway star that is nervous, and perhaps they even vomit before a performance, but once they get out on stage and once they hit their mark, and we all
I'm
know
ready for my close-up,
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. Get over here, you handsome devil. But you know what I'm saying, David. Yeah. Once they hit their mark and that spotlight is on them and they hear that applause because they just entered the stage, then they're on. Mm-hmm. And I'm like that very often, including right now as I sit here speaking with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are a lot of gay men, especially as we age, right? We shrink in a little more.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
It becomes harder to put yourself out there.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And once you're rejected once, you start thinking about that.
Absolutely. Like I said, I fully understand, because I tried to be a good listener at these chat groups. In fact, sometimes I listen too much and I don't participate with the chat part of it, much to the chagrin of the facilitator, I think. But no, you hit it. You hit the nail on the head when you say once you're rejected, then it's hard to brush that off.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Try it again. Yes. I think it takes a strong sense of self, maybe. I mean,
I can pretty much talk to anyone, but for me, I need an in. Like, I need to see that you want me to talk to you, or that I feel like I can't just walk up to someone. That makes me very uncomfortable to just walk up to some stranger and start talking to them. But if I catch a glimpse, or we somehow have, through someone else, have a funny exchange, or we're introduced, then I have more what's the word I'm looking for, chutzpah,
it's a good word. Yeah But let me ask you, David, are you at least able to be sociable enough or polite enough to go up and introduce yourself to somebody?
Sure.
In that sense?
Yeah.
In that sense. Okay.
Yeah. Well, especially if it's an event, like if I went to a Prime Timers Club event with you and it was just mingling. I'm good at mingling and I can talk to strangers that way. But I'm not, like, if I went to a gym where I didn't know anyone, I would not talk to a single person there.
Really?
I would keep my head down. I would do whatever it is I'm there to do, and then I would go.
Wow. You don't strike me as that type of person. That's your personality.
I would have to get some kind of signal or something, if I don't know, was working out on a machine and somebody said to me, hey, can I work in with you? I could strike up a conversation then.
Sure.
But I'm not the kind of person who can just walk up to someone, unless I have a few drinks in me. Then I can talk to anyone.
That helps, ladies and gentlemen. That helps. Been there, done that.
Do you think younger LGBTQ folks understand what it means to age in our community.
No. I didn't. And I don't expect them to. I think it's a...
That's actually well said. You're right.
Thank you.
I didn't either.
Yeah. I think like so many other things, it comes with maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? To use myself, and I will, since you're interviewing me and not anybody else. I've got the mic. I've never felt, at 81, I've never felt so comfortable with myself. Right now, including my sexuality, my being gay, I've never felt more comfortable
being you.
Being me.
Yeah.
That's it. Being very simple. Being me.
Which you're right. That comes with age. Yeah. And I remember when I was in my 20s, I didn't want to hang out with older people.
Of course not. Of course not. No.
And in my, I just turned 62, and it's different. I can feel that it's different because I'm also, like you said, I'm much more comfortable with who I am. That I don't take things so like, what's the word? Takes literally, or is that right? No, that's not right. I don't take every approach to me as a hookup agenda.
You don't? You should, David. And I'm saying that hoping that Derek doesn't have a gun.
No. I used to, whenever someone would kind of talk to me, I would think, there's an agenda here. You're after thing. I don't anymore. And I'm much more at ease at having conversations. And if I feel that that's happening, I'm able to steer that conversation away from that.
Away from there, elsewhere.
Yeah. And not feeling like I have to, actually what I've said to you before, we can all say no. It's okay to say no. Or it's okay to say, I'm not interested, but I'd still love to get to know you. Do queer elders know that the rest of us haven't learned yet?
I guess it boils down to, I think older queers, once again, if we're lucky, we become so comfortable with ourselves and where we're at in life. And in my case, being very, very grateful for the good health that I'm in, that I think maybe that's what we would hope that the younger ones will be when they reach, if they do, when they reach our age, our stage, as I call it, our status.
Status? Yeah.
Status. Yes. I like thinking to myself that my status as a senior is now a good phase. It's a very, very good phase.
You've earned it.
I've earned it. Yeah, I've earned it. And somebody recently told me that it's only 25%. I should try to fact check this, but according to them, only 25%, and I think they were talking about men and women, do not live beyond 75 years old. And he worked for an insurance company as an actuary. So I took what he said as the Bible, as the truth, because of his experience with his work. He said, Sean, now that you're 81, he said, you probably have a very good chance of reaching 90 because of that. And he told me that not too many months ago. And ever since he said that to me, I keep wondering, especially since I have met Arturo, I keep wondering, what will it be like if I do reach 90? What are the next 9 years going to be like? Especially if I'm with Arturo, whatever being with him means.
Yeah. Do you think about death?
I do. I do. Yeah. I do. And I have to admit, like I said, ever since that fella said that to me, I have to admit that I don't want to die now.
Ah, okay.
I don't want to die now. Like I said, I keep thinking of.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say, you say that because you've met somebody that you love and that you feel comfortable in who you are now and like life feels really good.
All of that, David. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. I realize, and once again, to repeat myself, I'm very grateful for the health that I have at 81 years old. I realize that, all you have to do is go to a prime timers meeting and you realize that there are a lot of folks out there, a lot of guys out there that are not as healthy, not as energetic.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the zest for life. Is that a word?
Yeah. Well, Sean, I told you this would only be an hour, and we've hit an hour and a half. So,
and I wonder why they call me Chatty Cathy.
I do have one more question for you.
Okay.
If you could go back to that younger teenager or that younger 20-something Sean, as he's in the Army or just coming out of the Army, what would you tell him about what's ahead?
Very simply, that it only gets better. That it only gets better. In my case, that's all I can speak to.
Yeah.
In my case, it only gets better.
That's great.
Good.
Thank you, Sean McCormick.
Well, thank you, David. This was a pleasure. I hope we can do it again.
Yes.
And it was fun.
Thank you.
Absolutely great. Maybe next time I will allow it to be videotaped. I'll see.
Okay.
I'll see. Depending if the makeup people are available.
Makeup. Thank you, Sean.
Okay. Thank you, David.
Thank you for listening to this episode of A Queer Point of View, Friends, Loves, and Life. You can find me on Substack, YouTube, and Blue Sky, all at David Bigor. DM me some questions, send me some ideas, or just say hi. If you have a moment, please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm David Bigor. Until next time, be bold, be free, and most of all, be you.